It's a fact that Sigmas are the rarest breed of males in the world. People are not used to the unique personality of Sigma men, so they are frequently misunderstood. However, while some of their habits may be uncommon, there is usually a perfectly good reason for why they do things the way they do. Whether you are a Sigma yourself or are simply curious about what makes Sigma males unique, here are 12 such habits that all Sigma males do that normal people don't understand. Number 1. They always sit in the back of the room. Sigma guys like to blend in and avoid being the center of attention, unlike alpha males. Thus, they frequently opt to sit at the back of the room where they can observe things without being seen. This allows them to analyze and see what's happening around them without being judged. Sitting in the end of the room makes it possible for them to leave quickly, such as giving them the opportunity to sneak out of a tedious meeting or conference, which is always a bonus. Sigma men always keep quiet unless they have something significant to say, so people frequently mistake them for being shy or uninterested. But in reality, they are so perceptive that they know more about what's happening than anyone else in the room. You wouldn't know it from their quiet demeanor because they are constantly listening and absorbing information. This is just their way of gathering knowledge and avoiding needless interactions. Number 2. They avoid overly chatty people. Take overly talkative salespeople, for example. Sigma men do not like to be bothered when they are trying to shop. They prefer to weigh their options and make decisions without input from others. Sure, if they have a question, they will ask for help, but most of the time, they would rather figure it out on their own. They hate feeling pressured into buying something to the point of leaving the store if they are being pursued by a salesperson who is constantly trying to talk to them. Although they understand that it's part of the job that they do. Being efficient is vital to a Sigma guy, thus they will leave the store without hesitation and go to another one where they can get what they need without having to listen to all the sales pitches. Number 3. They don't always like compliments. Sigma males are often very humble and don't need validation from others to feel good about themselves because they know their own worth and don't need others to tell them what they're doing is right. It's not that they don't enjoy hearing positive remarks about themselves. Of course, it feels nice to be recognized for doing something well, but sometimes compliments can feel like a trap, or the way people say them can be off-putting. Additionally, they dislike it when others try to win them over or flatter them in exchange for anything. This is quite off-putting to Sigmas, and they will pick it up in an instant. The purpose of compliments is to make the other person feel good. It's okay to compliment a Sigma every so often, but you should use those compliments sparingly. If you compliment a Sigma all the time, they might not take any of your compliments seriously. Number 4. They'll change their direction to avoid a big mouth person. For Sigma males, big mouths are a real pain because they are constantly babbling, trying to be the center of attention, and never seem to know when to stop. They are also loud, obnoxious, and generally annoying. If they get involved in a conversation with one of these people, it will be difficult to break free, and it would certainly waste their time, so they change their route or cross the street to avoid them. Although they like chatting with people, Sigma men appreciate their time and would prefer not to waste it on those who sap their energy. They just find it more convenient to converse with those with whom they truly share a shared interest. Number 5. They don't always smile. Sigma guys may not always appear to be smiling, but it doesn't necessarily mean they are unhappy or not having fun. They just don't see the value in smiling constantly as some people do. Sigmas tend to be very inward-looking. They don't feel the need to publicly display their emotions. They are sometimes misinterpreted for seeming cold or distant when, in fact, they are simply immersed in contemplation, processing everything internally, and preferring to keep their feelings and ideas to themselves. Sigma is perfectly pleased to simply enjoy the occasion and doesn't need to smile to indicate it. Number 6. They may appear to ignore phone calls for no reason. The majority of the time, texting or speaking in person is more efficient and requires less time for small talk than conversing on the phone, which is why Sigma men may let calls go to voicemail or even ignore them. Small conversation is not their thing, so they like to go right to the point. While this may come off as unpleasant to others, it is simply their nature. If there is an urgent call, they will undoubtedly respond, but if it's not, they won't waste their time. Sigma guys aren't intentionally trying to be rude, they just don't like to chat on the phone all the time. Number 7. They hate being alone with boring and dramatic people. The worst situation for a Sigma guy is being confined with someone who is always complaining or has nothing interesting to say. Life is too short to spend time with those who make us feel drained. While this may seem like a cold way to view the world, it actually makes perfect sense when you consider that Sigma males are frequently successful and don't want anything. They just need to be in control of their environment and don't want to be drawn into a situation that they can't control. Sigma males are often very independent and aren't interested in being around needy or clingy people. Number 8. They often pretend they're not home when the doorbell rings. Sigma guys are masters of discretion, so it should come as no surprise that they frequently avoid any unwanted interruptions from people. Because of that, they often refuse to answer the door when it is rung. If they don't know the visitor, they will typically claim to be absent in order to avoid any awkward encounters. They do this to avoid salespeople or other solicitors, but they may also do it to maintain their privacy. This doesn't mean they are paranoid. It just means they value their privacy and alone time more than most people. They don't like being interrupted when they are focused on something or don't feel like talking, so they frequently use this tactic to stay in their own little world. While it may seem rude to some, it's actually a pretty smart way to avoid any unwanted interruptions. Number 9. They only share their thoughts and opinions with very selected few. Sigmas are very picky about who they let into their inner circle. They don't just open up to anyone and everyone. They only share their thoughts and feelings with the people they trust. This is because they are very private people and don't like to share too much about themselves with others. Most Sigma men have previously been let down by people they thought were their friends, so they are now very careful about who they choose to trust. However, if they believe that someone is poisonous or damaging to them in any way, they won't hesitate to remove them from their lives. This won't happen frequently, but when it does, a Sigma man will never look back. Number 10. They recharge their social batteries by being alone. While alpha guys want attention and company in order to feel happy, Sigma males are the exact opposite. They need time alone to recharge their social batteries after being around people for a while, which is why they are frequently viewed as lone wolves. Sigmas are perfectly content on their own and frequently find solace in nature or in their own thoughts in order to get away from the chaos and noise of the outside world. Many people consider being alone to be a bad thing, but for those who are Sigmas, it is an essential aspect of life that enables them to reset and feel better than ever. Number 11. They don't leave their home until their neighbor is gone. This might come off as a strange one. While some people may enjoy having close neighbors, Sigma males prefer to have some space because they value their privacy and dislike the feeling as though they are being watched. As a result, if they see their neighbor leaving, they typically wait a few minutes before heading out to their own home. This doesn't mean they don't like their neighbors or aren't friendly, but they are sick of being asked the same questions every time they pass them. Although chatting for a while is enjoyable, there are times when you simply want to get through the day and don't want to be delayed by a protracted talk about the weather, your job, or anything else you don't particularly care about. Number 12. They prefer to enjoy watching rather than participating. While some may view this as a negative trait, Sigmas frequently prefer to observe rather than participate in activities. This is because they are interested in learning about how people function and what drives them, and they find it more interesting to sit back and take it all in rather than be in the middle of the action. This is not to say that Sigma doesn't still enjoy participating in activities, they just prefer to do so on their own. That brings us to the end of the video. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more content like this in the future. Why not like the video too? It will greatly help the channel.